Good evening and warm welcome to all the participants. I am extremely happy to welcome Dr. Mangala, Sunder, Krishnan. Good
Hello.
evening, sir, and good morning to you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome sir. He has joined from Canada. It is early morning out there, and in spite of the time difference, sir has agreed to speak with us. So nice of you. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. I'll do
Thank
a
you.
brief
Thank you.
introduction, and after that I'll request you to start your session, sir. Let me read out the profile. I'll try to make it as brief as possible. I'm not projecting on the screen, but I'll just read out to the extent possible. I'll try and keep it brief. It's a long profile, but I will try and condense it. Dr. Mangala Sundar Krishnan is a Professor Emeritus in the Department of Chemistry in IIT Madras after serving the institute as a faculty member for 26 years from 1996. He was also the head of the Department Chemistry at IIT Madras until 2021. He obtained his PhD degree in 1988 from McGill University, Montreal, Canada, in theoretical chemistry, and had several years of postdoc experience in a number of fields in theoretical chemistry from major universities in Canada before joining IIT Madras in the year of 1996. He has guided 7 PhDs, 2 MTech students, and more than 24 MSc students in theoretical chemistry. He has published his research in international journals in several areas, such as the theory of nuclear magnetic resonance, molecular spectroscopy, and computational chemistry. Currently, there are 2 PhD students associated with him. His other major interest is the area of tech, that is the Technology Enhanced Learning, TEL. He was the first National Web Courses Coordinator for the National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning, NPTEL, for the period 2003 onwards up until 2015. And he continues to contribute to it. He was a member of the Standing Committee and Domain Experts Committee of the National Mission on Education through Information and Communication Technology, and was the first chief coordinator for DTH SWAYAM for education through direct home television, all of which are programs of the Ministry of Education. He has served as a member in the boards of NIOS, NCRT, and is a reviewer of the projects on e-learning in the Ministry of IT for more than a decade. Dr. Mangala Sundar was an eminent academician, member of the governing board of India's leading sector skill council known as NASSCOM ITIDS for 2 terms, and has initiated the current online skills project with the advice of NASSCOM and known as Digital Skills Academy to help the students of higher education in skills upgradation and campus placement. He is also a member of the Empowered National Committee on MOOCs and SWAYAM and assists Ministry of Education in the establishment of online certified learning processes. Dr. Mangala Sundar is a university gold medalist in both BSc and MSc. In addition, he is the recipient of one of the best graduate student teacher awards given by McGill University for 3 years in succession, 1984 to 1986. He was also honored by the President of India citation as a pioneer contributor on digital learning in a function held by the Ministry of Education on July 9th, 2017. There are many more things, but amazing profile, great contribution. We are quite blessed to have you, sir. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us. Without much ado, I request you to start the conversations. Over to you.
Thank you, and good evening to all of you. As is always the case, the privilege of being with you is mine rather than the other way around. Therefore, I'm very happy to talk to you about some of the things that I did when Professor Ganesh requested me, and then later Professor Sudhakar Rao contacted me. I was very happy to go back and think about the many things that I was involved in. But please remember, all these activities were done by hundreds and hundreds of people and contributed by thousands and thousands of faculty members throughout the country. And therefore, it's a great pleasure to be associated with such activities, even if you think that you spend all your time. So let me start my presentation. So I believe my 20 minutes starts from now. Okay, so 7:05, I'll begin my presentation. Just one moment. Constructive intervention in India's education, about the 2 projects that I did in NPTEL and SWAYAM. But in SWAYAM, I'm going to concentrate only on one aspect, And due to the paucity of time, I will not talk about the national mission, which again went on for another 6-7 years in between, which I was an active participant. So let's go to the slide. So my coordinates are here. You are most welcome to contact me at any time through these. And the presentation has already been shared for all of you. Okay. So this initiative for implementing technology-enhanced learning in India is quite old. It's more than 20 years. And the HRD ministry at the time, it's the Ministry of Education today, in 1998 had a delegation of Indian educators and government officials to the United States to understand TEL. And after they came back, there was a workshop that was held in Chennai, thanks to the support and the direction of one very well-known management faculty member. Please remember, this was started with the help of a very senior management administrative as well as technology expert, Professor Paul Goodman in Carnegie Mellon University. He was in the Tepper School of Business and both an organizational psychologist as well as a cognitive psychologist. We ran the workshop, and in that workshop, many faculty members from IITs, IMU, IIMs, and Carnegie Mellon IT experts, they all participated. And at the end of that, we created a small virtual center for TEL between the then 5 IITs. There were only 5 IITs then. IIT Guwahati was just about getting into the picture. 4 IIMs and Carnegie Mellon. VCTEL was created. And Professor Anand, who was then the Dean of Academic Courses in IIT Madras, proposed a project, this particular scheme, and it's called the National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning. And therefore, the genesis is 1999, 26 years ago. Now, where we are is what you see in this diagram. SWAYAM was launched in 2016 by the government of India, but NPTEL was the precursor in 2003. And then you had NME ICT, National Mission on Education through Information and Communication Technology in 2009. And in 2017, a component of SWAYAM became SWAYAM Prabha, which was the direct hope television project. So I was requested to take the project and also continue work with the ministry for 6-7 years. I think I stepped down around 2022 after my retirement. And now we have a skills project called the SWAYAM Plus. The beauty is that all academic institutions can contribute to this project. There are reviewers and review committees, and we also have tech partners who can contribute even for a fee into the SWAYAM Plus project. Except for SWAYAM Plus, which may have a charge for the students for the skilling programs, all courses offered through the SWAYAM, NME ICT, and SWAYAM Prabha are free for everyone. Everyone in the world, yes, exactly. Okay. No, there is no limit. There is no screening. So where are we now? I'll give you what we are and then tell you where we came from. Approximately 1.87 billion views of NPTEL videos, not only from YouTube, but also allied YouTube subscribers, and approximately 5 million subscribers in the YouTube for the NPTEL channel, a little more than 3,200 courses, and 76,000 plus videos, which are free for everyone. They are organized as playlists in the YouTube. And these are freely available for anybody to download and to study. And they are organized as courses of 30 lectures or 20 lectures or 40 lectures and so on. And NPTEL online certification, which was the offshoot of the NPTEL program course content creation, began in 2014 on the Science Day, February 28, which is also commemorating the Sir C.V. Raman's birthday, the Nobel laureate in science from our country. And today we have 8,003 plus 300 courses so far have been offered. Many of them are repeat courses. And you can see the enrollments and you can see the exam registrations. We do run proctored examinations because our idea was to provide certification for those who learn. And these certificates are credit-worthy and e-verifiable so that students can transfer these credits to their university certificates and replace some of the university courses by them. So approximately 40 lakh certificates have so far been issued. Now, this is NPTEL and SWAYAM, which is a much bigger entity. If you want to know the difference, NPTEL concentrated on engineering to begin with, and later it expanded to sciences and humanities and management slowly. But then the SWAYAM is a complete gamut of all educational programs. You can see that there are 14,000 courses, including NPTEL. So whatever you see in this figure, SWAYAM, NPTEL is part of it. And you can see the numbers of students who are currently registered with the platform. And it's a government-funded, fully government-funded program, as supported by the government for free education, free higher education. SWAYAM also has a component on school education, but that's a different topic. You can see that approximately, in addition to NPTEL, another 14 lakh students have been certified through arts and science and humanities courses, both in the undergraduate and in the postgraduate level. And many unique courses and many unique learners. And you can see that there is a graph, but you can study this graph a little later on your own time. These are all data provided by the ministry to me, and thanks to them. And you can see that the courses have been developed for various levels and various programs. Undergraduate education, 800 courses that you can see here. And on the leftmost side, and then you see that there are other simply learn courses, and for UG and PG common programs, and for PG only courses. Then there are school lectures and diploma programs, continuing education programs, and mainly certificate courses, a small number of them in areas. So you can see that the program over the last 7-8 years is bringing in many more students into learning either by themselves or with the help of their mentors in their respective institutions. Now, that's about the present state, but how did we get there? I think this lecture is about the processes and the programs that were built in, and the challenges in building a national portal of this kind. What are they? At least I list a few of them that I'm aware of. The first one is, of course, the differences in the curricula. And we have about 1,200 universities, about 1,150 universities or something like that in 2022. So I'm sure there are more universities now. They are all with different educational goals. And they have differences in preparation levels of the students because of the 30+ state boards which prepare the children for higher education. There is heterogeneity to begin with. And the heterogeneity is not only in the preparation level, but also in the cognitive ability of the different students in different communities and different settings and different economic backgrounds and various other things. So student populations are very, very heterogeneous. And communication skills. Most of us use English still as a language of medium of construction. I mean, communication between ourselves to begin with, and also between us and the rest of the world. And so medium of instruction for a large number of universities is English, but I wouldn't say comfortable for our students. A lot of them do lack communication skills, which often they misunderstand to be lacking in cognitive skills. There's a difference between the two, very, very subtle. And then you have the differences in styles of teaching by different instructors. You know, some of the most knowledgeable, research-driven and scholars to those who faithfully reproduce information in the classroom from a textbook and nothing else. You know, we have got all grades of teachers. And we also have the impact of internet and social media. Almost right from the beginning of NPTEL in 2003, internet was available. And in 2006 or 7, Google and YouTube became freely accessible in India. And now, of course, the impact of AI in education. So with all of this, there is a huge challenge in building national portals. Challenges in creating the content for different subjects. See, that's an equally important difficulty because subject-wise, you cannot create content in a uniform format. Each subject has its own unique and different styles and presentation, different styles of learning requirements. So if you look at the video format for students to learn through video, If you want a text format for students to use a PDF file or a Word file or any other free resources, file from free resources like LibreOffice and so on. And again, accessibility for all the students is very, very heterogeneous. And presentation format, I know somebody will like a presentation through PPT, but others may do a group presentation, discussion, and so on. There are multiple ways of doing these things. And then the audio file, which has to be compressed in such a way that the students, if they wish to download, even the remotest student should be able to download any of the files that he or she wants. And the video format proposed a challenge to us, because the video files are originally recorded for the VHS tape format. And one had to recompress them, convert them, and compress them into MP4. And that was a major project I did in addition to the coordination of this project with all the other institutions. And the only requirement is user shall not require a commercial software or a player to download. They should be accessing it through free resources that they can download. So that's a compulsory requirement for anybody to prepare content on this. So those challenges are not simple, and you need uniformity in that. So technology enhanced learning studios were created in some of the partner institutions. To begin with, we were 8 partners, 7 IITs at the time: IIT Bombay, Delhi, Kanpur, Kharagpur, then Roorkee, Guwahati, and Madras. 7 of them, and Indian Institute of Science, 8 partners. If you see the NPTEL logo, there are 8 spokes in them, and these 8 spokes refer to the 8 partner institutions. Well, you prepare content. Then there are challenges in copyright and IPR. After all, we are doing this government funding. So who owns the copyright? Who owns the intellectual property rights are issues that one need to worry about. And main question, whatever is posted on the website, who owns the copyright? Answer is extremely simple. Everyone. Okay. But what is important for everyone is that he or she must follow the ethical and fair use guidelines given in the Government of India's terms of use conditions. But we use Creative Commons for NPTEL, and Creative Commons is a society in the United States for free and fair use of copyleft materials, not copyright materials. And copyleft CC is used with non-commercial attribution and share alike. These are the 3 pointers that we use. But Government of India has a fairly wider use of its contents. But the terms of use are very clearly stated in the website. Okay. What are the challenges in building the national portal again? Okay, we do this for helping the students through online program. Therefore, it's a supplement. It cannot replace the university's curriculum. There is no intention here to directly tell the university that all your contents will be available by us. No, it's a supplement. But then how big is the supplement? Depends on the nutritional level of the individual institutions and universities. Okay, please remember and recall, even from COVID days, that self-directed online learning, either free or paid, has very poor completion rates. I mean, less than 20% of the students who register for a program. 20 is a very large number. Most massive open online course programs have less than 7 to 8% completion rates. You can see that. Many open universities where students actually pay, register, and continue to learn the subjects through distance learning degree programs, including IGNOU. If you look at the IGNOU statistics of 2021 from the yearly report I dished out, you can see that the number of students admitted are 16 lakh students in a year. And in the same year, the number of students who graduated is 2.2 lakhs, 20%, 25%. No, less than that, sorry. It's about 12%. MOOCs. When the MOOCs began from Canada by Stephen Downes and George Siemens on the first course called the Connectivism and Connectivity Knowledge, and the University of Manitoba ran this course. 25 students in University of Manitoba on campus registered for the course, and 2,500 students were online. The course contents themselves evolved during the discussion, and the completion rates are completely unknown to us, other than probably the 25 students who took it for credit. The second most well-known MOOCs course, Peter Narvik and Sebastian Thurn, on the Introduction to Artificial Intelligence at University. There was a big hoopla, 160,000 students registered, but 20,000 completed, 12.5%, despite the popularity and the relevance of the topic, and that the education was free for everyone. People couldn't complete and didn't have the drive to complete something that they wanted to learn by themselves. Now, currently NPTEL, from 2014 to 2025, has been running MOOCs, and you can see the numbers here. Those numbers are increasing as you see the presentation. You see, in 2014, we had 1.1 lakh students who were registered, but only 3,000 students actually finished the certification. And then in 2025, this year, approximately 30.8 lakh students are registered and about 9 lakh students are writing. Why is this number very big? Why is this number close to 30%? Because this is a credit transfer to the university system. Therefore, the universities demand their students to complete such online courses to get the credit. The students are driven to complete and are helped by the various means that you see on the right-hand side, the course contents, assignments, text transcriptions, live sessions, and discussion forums, and so many of them. And challenges in building the national portal is, again, you see that out of 3.4 crores in the SWAYAM, 40.8 lakh in NPTEL, 40.8 lakhs is certified. Then, having done all these things, why are we still wanting to do this? Well, when you build a national portal, higher education, learning and higher order skills need applications to be built in. Higher order skills have to be aligned to the national goals. Higher order skills for which we provide should also help the industry and technology for the development and advance. The higher order skills, of course, must induce research and innovation spirit among the students. Some of the highly technical courses must motivate people to find their own research problems, as well as self-employment opportunities through startups and entrepreneurship. Higher order skills must lead to new discoveries and emerging social challenges. And they should be also useful for lifelong and effective distance learning. Like those of you, almost all of you who are quite employed and well settled down, still want to learn something that you want to find useful. And so there should be a directive to that. And therefore, even with the small registration completion numbers that we have, why are we thinking that this is very, very important? Please see this. This is a joint society for academic. I think it is there at the bottom. It's called Joint Seat Allocation Authority of the Government of India by the ministry. It says in 2024, the total number of seats in IIT were 17,700. And NITs and triple ITs were another 25,000. You think the number is large? It's minuscule. Why? Government of India survey. 26.52 crore students in schools, 4.33 crores of students in higher education, and more than 11 crores in skilling institutions like ITIs and others. And the country has 15 lakh schools, 1.5 lakh secondary schools, 1.42 lakh higher secondary schools. Higher education, we have close to 1,200 universities, 45,000 colleges, 12,000 institutions. And therefore, you see 15.98 lakh teachers only for 44.33 crores of students. Less than 50, 1:30 or 40. This is a pathetic number. So it is important for all of us to build a lot of good educational institutes, and they must proliferate in number. It should increase by at least 2 orders of magnitude than what we have today. But the supply chain of good quality committed teachers does not exist in the country now, nor is it possible in the next 2-3 decades as we estimated in 2003 when we started this project. And the only option we have is open the gates of the institutions outward. Let the teachers go out and teach whatever they can, put everything online, and ensure that some help is provided. Because you can't have an inward opening, allowing more students. Campuses have logical limits and resource constraints, and therefore opening the gates outward was the only possibility. And NPTEL started it, SWAYAM is continuing, and there are many more such opportunities in the future. So you can see that process is possible. But creating a large pool of teachers through training and creating a large number of institutions is not possible right now. Today, we have online content through SWAYAM. UGC recommends up to 40% of their coursework can be done. But that's a very large number in my view. I think institutions must teach bulk of it, and a small number should be online learning from other resources. I'm worried that there'll be lots of fly-by-the-night operators who will emerge in education to fulfill this requirement and misdirect students, but that's okay. That's an opinion. AICTE also recommends, All India Council of Technical Education also recommends similar percentages. And you see that whatever they do, if a university has a curriculum course pedagogy, the online content should match at least about 80% of the host institution's curriculum expectations. Otherwise, it's out of the syllabus. Now, the last few slides on the highlights of NPTEL project alone. I'm not going to talk about SWAYAM anymore. You can see that we have translation schemes for all the video lectures. There are about 60,000 videos, and they are being translated into about 12 different languages. Right now, there are 11 languages here, which are the most popular among the students in multiple states. And then we have all these various branches in NPTEL alone in terms of engineering and technology and basic science. I've not talked about. There is a science here, multidisciplinary and applied science, physics, chemistry, and so on. You can see a large number of courses which are available online for free. And who are the people and why are they doing it? You can see that the faculty members from various colleges use this for strengthening their foundation and exploring new domains and continuous learning. Faculty development programs, FDP, which are recommended by UGC for career promotion. So about 11% of our audience is faculty, and 82% of the audience is college students. Obviously, they learn at their own pace, topics which are not taught, topics which are relevant for their career, and topics with which they can network with other people, and also their employability, internships, opportunities can be improved by this process. And industry, 7% of industry group is using that, but that should be a larger number over a period of time because it allows reskilling and fresh training and job-ready training for different areas. The domain certification has been now included. Domain certification is a group of courses which correspond to one domain. For example, if you look at the right side, AI is one domain, data science is another domain, programming foundations, I think together they form your domain. And construction materials technology, structural analysis, for example, in civil engineering, these are all domains where a suite of courses are available. If the students complete, they get the certificate as experts in those domains. So there is a lot of these domains which are now listed in the NPTEL website. Okay, I think I'm coming to the last but one slide, but this is a detailed one. There are many other activities in SWAYAM. I'm very happy to be involved in all of them, at least until a point was reached. I mean, when I decided to retire, obviously, you don't decide to retire. The institution retires you at the age of 65. Till then, I was quite active. That is a few years ago. And text transcription of all the videos that we have done, because we have multiple pronunciation styles of faculty members. And to understand what they say, you need the live text. And student scholarships and examination fees, which are provided through some of these, the corpus funds that we raise. And student internships are given to the best performing students. Summer visiting fellowships are given. We do give industry-oriented certification when specific industries approach us for training their own employees. And then you see the latest of the technology requirements, AI, machine learning, data science, finance, accounting, and markets. And there are new courses in these. And I run the skills program where I do provide a lot of these for a fee with IIT Madras. And then we have online classes along with orientation in all these programs, and also help these students for completing exams like GATE and UGC for higher education admission. And even IIT students are encouraged to take a certain minimum number of courses for their credits. Therefore, we are not selling what we cannot consume ourselves. It is important. I mean, if that's the market language, I should say, we do practice what we preach. The students of our own are also permitted to take. And the institutional partners have become close to 100 now. We started with 8 partners, 7 IITs and IAC in 2003. And let me complete with all these website links that you can look at for more details. There are 3 principles of education that we may recall that Sri Aurobindo came up with. The last principle, the third principle, is to work from the near to the far, from that which is to that which shall be. The students, where they are, it doesn't matter. What they are, it doesn't matter. But where they should be eventually is what we care for. With that background, we provide sufficient advance and learning. So you can see that this was expanded by someone. It's God's arrangement that they should belong to a particular nation, age, society, that they should be children of the past, possessors of the present, creators of the future. For that, we all should help. The past is our foundation. The present is our material. The future is our aim and summit. Each must have its due and natural place in a national system of education. And therefore, I do believe that NPTEL, SWAYAM, and all of these, which are funded 100% by the government of India, there is no government in the country, in the world, which supports online education like government of India had done in the last 20 years. So the support from them is helping the last sentence. Each student must have its due and natural place in the national system of education. I want to thank you, and we'll try to answer some of the questions, but I'm not sure I will know the answers to all of them, okay? But I will be very happy to try, as always the case. I expect answers only from students, not from me. I mean, don't expect me to give you the answers as a teacher, okay? Sometimes I'll turn this back to you as a problem. Thank you so much for your patience, and I look forward to the interactions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's an amazing presentation that covered the journey of NPTEL SWAYAM, the national portal making for learning, skilling, and certification. I think it's a very, very impressive journey of more than 2 decades, and of course, a long way to go. Given the diverse nature of this country and the diverse nature of the requirements of learning and the diverse structures that are always existing with us, I'm sure there's always a longer journey for us to make from every time we sit down to review. But the journey covered and the ground covered so far is pretty impressive. And compared to what others have done in other countries, a couple of examples that you have given looks like, I think, the ground covered by us in India is pretty impressive. Thank you so much, sir, for taking time and energy to present this journey. This is not understood by many, and I thought for policymakers, for students, for teachers, for learners, everyone alike, this has provided a great opportunity to understand the start to finish, the overall canvas, how it evolved, and what kind of lessons we have learned, and what challenges still persist for us. So it has created a nice ground for us to ask a few questions, sir. There are questions. There are questions on completion, especially. There are challenges that we need to deal with. We will come and grapple with all those questions as we move forward. We have come up with 2 clusters of Q&A, sir. The first cluster will be taken up by Dr. Prasad. I'll come back for the second cluster. In the second cluster, I'll open the mic for the audience to talk to you directly as well. We'll try and take up as many questions as possible. I want to once again thank all the distinguished members who have joined around the screen this evening. Friday evening is a learning habit that ICFAI has created over the last 197 sessions. Thankfully, people are joining week after week, learning week after week, and going back to our archives as well. It's a great encouragement for us, sir. And on this 197th session, you have joined and taken up this very important and interesting topic.
My privilege.
Great, sir. I'll request Dr. Prasad to commence the cluster number 1, and I'll come back, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Prasad.
Thank you, Professor Rao. Thank you, sir, for laying out this very important mission and a set of initiatives for such a large country as us. And we seem to have figured out our own way to do it not looking at what perhaps, just the seeds may have come from the others, and which is also a very welcome sign. So my first question is a bit personal. Now you've been in chemistry, or you're a good professor of chemistry, you are in IIT. Not all professors look at such initiatives, online learning platforms, etc. So what was that part of the journey, sir?
Okay, I would say that the chemistry is something I still do because I have PhD students and I have classes. My department, I teach probably the largest number of courses in the areas that they need my help on. So chemistry is there. When I began this journey in 96, with the first few interactions with students on interviews for selecting them for PhD and MSc and so on, I found out that there was a large gap between what they should know and what they actually knew. And, my education in technology started a little earlier with Animator Pro by Autodesk and PowerPoint slides. PowerPoint did not come in as a full-fledged word and so on. So I had some experience in preparing chemistry contents, particularly physical chemistry and mathematics, in using technology. So I tried to do that in IIT Madras for the first few years. There was a big reception, and then the institute saw that this was the best opportunity to bring NPTEL project to a level that the others can also follow. So there was a large collaboration, 8 partners. So yes, I do miss chemistry, but now I am retired. I'm a theoretician, so I don't have to go to the lab. So I can read whatever I want. I can study and continue to contribute. But this journey is more important socially, and partnership with so many others, I would say, helped me to understand what is technology enhanced learning. Probably I'm the single biggest beneficiary of this particular program in understanding what TEL is. But yes, chemistry is important. I do have now chemistry problems that I'm seriously looking at. Because this is the third innings. Academics are the only ones who are allowed 3 innings. One as a student, one as a teacher, and one as a retiree. Okay. So the third innings is the retiree innings. I can play the way I want. Nobody determines how I should play. Okay. So I will hopefully do some chemistry in that period.
Excellent, sir. I move on to the next question. These are very large initiatives which have impacted many in India. Have there been any impact studies which are done on NPTEL?
Yes. Yeah, there is a lot of it. I did not show any of that. If you are willing to, I will share the NPTEL presentation public domain later. We do follow the impact study in terms of what we call as the college level nodal persons. They are called the single point of contact, SPOCs. And there are about 5,000 or 6,000 SPOCs, that many colleges which are directly connected with us. And these SPOCs meet 2 or 3 times a year in multiple regions, so that there is an understanding from them how NPTEL is impacting their students, how their statistics, their college feels compelled to do it, or whether it is encouraging their students to do it. Because today, online learning by UGC sort of mandates a certain percentage of teaching and learning to be done through this process, and they trust NPTEL and SWAYAM as the basic platform. Therefore, the impact studies are all there, and the impact studies are not there during my period as a coordinator. We were in the process of creating things, and we were not able to get to the point of the actual user statistics except through YouTube. In 2007, we launched the YouTube channel. And between 2007 and 2020, 16 or 17, when I left the project to the next generation of my colleagues, there were some inputs from them. But today we have a very detailed analysis that can be shared. It's also there in the NPTEL website. I did not put that in today because I wanted to challenge people with the processes and the difficulties in setting up a large national platform, except through collaboration. That is the challenge was all completely taken by the multiple collaborators, and problems were attended simultaneously. Yeah, there are detailed studies.
Thank you, sir. Perhaps I will request some points to be shared, which are part of the next question.
Sure.
There was a parliamentary panel which presented a report in February 2025, and of course it pointed out the completion rate, and then it also talked about some issues like outdated content, rigid teaching methods, poor infrastructure, and lack of placements. Now, sir, now that these impact studies are done and the issue is much larger. I mean, not just the completion rate, but even you want to double the the people who are participating in it. So from the impact studies, what sort of points have come across which will help into developing this to the next level?
Okay, couple of things. First, this is entirely voluntary learning. Even though colleges may compel you to take 1 or 2 courses, the number of courses available to the students is far more than what he or she can do in any branch. Therefore, the voluntary nature of this also means self-propelling and self-directing learning process. So the impact studies now tell us that we are completing at about 20%, which is almost like 3 times the completion rate of the standard MOOCs. 6 to 7% is the online MOOCs of Coursera, earlier edX, and today we have many other partners. 7, maybe 8%. So that way, there is a good drive from the colleges for their students to complete. The job profile, certainly employers today keep asking the students how many NPTEL courses they did and what did they do, what did they learn. Therefore, it appears that for campus placement and jobs for many students, this is an extremely important pointer and extremely important, what do you call it, an element in their resume that they look at. So it is helpful to them. But I would say the most important effect that it will have in students is the teaching methods and teaching courses must change with time. I wouldn't say that the chalk and talk is to be dissolved. Chalk and talk will never go away because that's a one-to-one direct interaction in learning. All the others are technology assistants. So the personal element is always there. But today we hope that many professors will use AI, will use other technology tools to make the lectures interesting and self-learning more and more engaging for the students. But in the end, the teachers will decide how to offer their course. And they know their popularity also depends on the way they deliver the course. So we leave it to them. So there is a huge evolution prospect for this project to impact practically all the students in the country. And this is online. Therefore, all you need is a local study group and a local coordination group in your college or your term to understand how these things can be understood and so on. Therefore, this is an opportunity that we want to provide everyone. Let's not say geographically or politically or religiously or any other way you are not accessible, you are not available. Nothing of that kind. It's your mental makeup to study. That's all that we are worried about. So yeah, technologies are being used.
Thank you, sir. Another question in this regard is, there are a number of courses which are launched, but they don't appear every time. I mean, in the next succeeding cycle, you don't see that some of those courses are not getting offered. This is a problem that we also face here when we keep scanning every 6 months.
Yeah.
And given that the government of India also is, funding this, what kind of relationship is there between this, that which is getting made, but that doesn't go? I suppose some certain number of enrollment, some criteria would be there. And then that which comes up again because you're going to do some reinvestment. So how do you tackle this problem going ahead?
Yeah, the government funding for this program is 100%. Therefore, the government looks at the financial aspects, and the money for whatever money spent should also have the necessary benefits to the students. I think, if I understand correctly, they have a limit of minimum registration for any course at any point of time. Every 6 months we offer now, because we are aligning this with the semesters of the colleges and the institutions. Earlier, we didn't do that. And in fact, we announced the examination dates more than a year before so that there are no conflicting exam dates with their university education and so on. There is a fee that the government pays to the faculty member for running this program. Therefore, they are also interested in seeing certain minimum registrations and a certain minimum completion. But these numbers are specified, cannot be enforced. And second, same course, the same faculty offering them happens 2 or 3 times, but by that time, somebody else must offer a slightly different version of the same course. And therefore, you can see that it is not the same title that appears, but the course in 60 to 80% of the format is also offered by somebody else with a different point of view. But this gap still exists that you point out, that the same course does not appear more than once. So students who did not complete, who registered for this, how would they complete later? What we do is we let the colleges determine the examination pattern for them. We provide the study materials to the college and tell them, you do the examination for your own students on this, but you won't get the NPTEL certificate. You will give the college the student certificate so that they also feel that they got a credit for the learning that they did. So yeah, it is being addressed in multiple ways. And this is a serious problem that we have, that completion rates have to reach 50 to 60%. But please remember, no online education can ever, at least for the next decade, will ever come to an on-campus learning, because in an on-campus learning, there's more than watching the videos online. That's a social environment. You live in the campus for 4 years with your friends and with your faculty. So I think if we reach 50%, that would be a phenomenally big target to achieve.
Thank you, sir. I think one of the positives is that perhaps the enhanced version of the course, because things keep changing, would come in when somebody else is making it.
Yeah.
Sir, next question is, you have mentioned a figure of about 363. I suppose there are institutions which are doing the credit transfer in one of your slides.
More than 4,000 or 4,500 institutions do credit transfer.
Okay.
I think 363 must be some other number. I don't remember that, but it's in thousands institutions which do credit transfer. The smaller number comes for the SWAYAM, which is yet to be popular, but it's also being pushed by the ministry through the UGC. Please remember, the UGC network is 3 times that of the engineering students. Therefore, SWAYAM should be far more popular than NPTEL, but NPTEL has the advantage of having started it much earlier, and therefore it keeps providing help in doing that number. Yeah, a little more than 5,000 colleges which have credit transfer possibilities with us.
Sir, is there any idea of the numbers of students who have taken credit transfers?
That's the certificate. You saw that 38.5 lakhs or something that you saw in one of the slides. Let me go back to that slide.
So all of them would have taken credit transfers?
Yeah, they would have all. Those who completed would take the credit transfer. That was the reason why they got into that.
Okay.
Yeah, all of them would have taken that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll take a pause at this stage. I'll hand it back to Professor Rao for the next cluster.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Prasad. It's a great conversation, sir. Thank you so much. I have a small question, but a question on the paradigm itself. The objective of starting these platforms is to make it accessible to as many people as possible, as many learners as possible, the free and open access. Looking back, do you think making it available at a nominal fees would have improved the outcomes in any manner?
Discussion, very, very important point. Free education does not attract a lot of people. That's one of the paradigms in education. Even if it's a lousy course, you must pay a small fee to learn that it is a lousy course and you didn't learn much from it. But you see, I agree with it partly, and I also disagree with it in the sense, the fee is important if you need a service from us. The service is not that of delivering the course. Please remember, faculty members who create these courses do get a small honorarium. I mean, whatever compensation they get from the government, that is what they transfer the IP or the copyrights to the ministry and to the individuals. So to answer the question, should we put a fee? I think the fee is small or large, depends on whom you are talking to, which segment you want to address. But in my view, learning can always be free, but certification and professional training and skilling can be charged. I think the government has come to understand that model very well over many years. And in the online, it is also implementing it. I did not talk about the SWAYAM Plus, which is the last initiative in 2024, has been launched. That's a skilling initiative where many courses are for a fee. They are. And the moment you charge your fee, you also have certain other issues that you need to worry about. What is the value? How do you judge that a quantum mechanics course is worth 100 rupees or a quantum mechanics course is worth $1 million? How do you judge that? It depends on who you are talking to, who you are addressing, and so on. But today, NPTEL Plus also allows this kind of charging a fee, but allowing the students to learn on their own time and not write the examination as announced, but on the dates that they prefer to write the examination. So you need to pay the faculty members to create these kind of additional examinations and questions. So both models work, but in a country of our size, with more than 40% of our students from poor, third tier institutes, cities and so on, I would still make it for free. I would still go for free. It's not that a free course is not a good course. Many good things are still available on. And today on the internet, you get fantastic things for free. So you should not worry so much about charging, except when you offer a service in terms of certification or a professional qualification and so on. Yes, that you can charge.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your response. There are issues of value judgment. There are issues of service delivery. There are issues of service performance always when there is a payment to begin with.
Right.
But yes, in a large country like ours, the objectives are very different. So we need to go with that. But in continuation,
can I add one more? Can I add one more comment on that?
Please.
See, IGNOU runs open distance education, online education. IGNOU certificates are all charged. Students pay the fee, but still do not complete them. Okay. IGNOU has a huge corpus of students' payments, and it doesn't have a policy of returning the fees back to students who did not complete. So sometimes when you collect the fees, you have a corpus which you can use for other reasons. So it all works out evenly in the end. Yes. Yeah.
Correct. But that brings us to another kind of a quasi conclusion that the problem lies in the beast itself. That is, the nature of the model allows you or helps you complete only, as you said, even if it is 50% completion rate, that's a fantastic number one can go by. So probably we have to realistically reset our expectations and then go for it. So that's probably is one takeaway. Yeah. Sir, given the size of our country that we always talk about and the diversity, are there any lessons that we have from a similar country like China, where largeness is one? They talk about skilling their country very well in the mid 80s to 90s onwards. They started doing it very well. They have outcomes to demonstrate. And at the same time, they are huge consumers of technology apart from creating the technology for themselves. Are there any lessons in this model from China?
Yeah, the Chinese are able to do what they are able to do through a unilateral requirement of a government control on every program, everything. There's a single system and everybody complies with it. Our country is very, very heterogeneous, and the state board of one state doesn't even agree with the central board. And you have governments today arguing for funding by saying, I won't follow the national education policy, but my money is still my money. You have to give me. You have this kind of a heterogeneity in terms of learning, and democracy brings in variations in style. What is important is the vision for what we want to be, where we want to be. That vision should be very clear. And the vision here is that it is not possible for us to build brick and mortar institutions of the kind that we were able to get through the IITs over 60 years in a reasonable amount of our time and a reasonable amount of the students' time. Therefore, we need to provide alternate models. How successful they are depend on what is being offered and how relevant things offered are useful to the students and so on. So the lessons that we have to take from China are not in terms of the numbers or the types of programs, but in terms of ensuring that our learner stays with us throughout and completes and asks for more and gets more, and even if it's a fee and so on. The numbers we have is probably about 10% of what the Chinese are able to do with respect to the online process. But being a democratic country and being a country with more than 22 official languages, And the learning traits and the learning abilities and the understanding of the content in English language being so heterogeneous and vast, we have to address the problem of meeting the requirements of different groups. So there is one possibility that you have a channel, the whole flood can go through, but then there is a large ground, the water spread all around, and then they become thin. So what is important for you is to create more water. Okay, make sure that everybody is eventually able to satisfy. So I think our priority should be to create as much good quality content from as many faculty members, from as many different pedagogies and different learnings, and label them so that a Google route map can be written for a student who starts somewhere, saying that you follow this route if you want to go here, or you follow this route if you want to go here. For that, we need a lot of bullets. So our country's main requirement is to prepare all these bullets. And NPTEL and SWAYAM give you some examples of these. But we need thousands of institutions to get involved. There are 40,000 colleges, 45,000 colleges. If 2 faculty members from each college taken, you have got 80,000 faculty members. You don't know how much impact it will have. Therefore, I think that's what is important for us. The Chinese model of getting everything organized to a point of delivery works so far. We have to learn from it, but we cannot replicate it. We should not replicate it here because we are a different country altogether.
Great, sir. Yeah. Great. Thank you so much for analyzing it in the perspective that is workable for India. Sir, one related question is that the pioneering collaborators have been from the premier institutions in this country, especially IITs and IIMs and IISCs. Well, I did not plan to ask you this question, but let me ask you, in the initial stages, as collaborators came from these premier institutions, was there any challenge? Because
there were lots of them. There were lots of them. I was among the youngest of the faculty members in the team. So it was easy for me to shut my mouth up and listen to what other people used to say, what is common and who is the expert to teach this particular course. Right. Discussions will be different even from that point onwards. When a team colleague, NPTEL coordinator of IIT Kharagpur or IIT Bombay will say, I have the expert who is better teacher than this course, give it to me. So we resolve that problem by teaming them up initially. When there are 2 or 3 experts, we said, all of you please join together and offer a better course than one individual. That's one possibility. Because the money initially was very tight. We couldn't replicate courses. We needed to do one course at least in every subject and every discipline. But the second phase, NME ICT, and I never talked about it, but that's a huge problem. I'll tell you some other time. NME ICT and the SWAYAM gave funding for us to do replication of even titles and courses. And so I think we have resolved that problem. The challenges of who owns the learning component, we have resolved it by saying it's a student eventually who owns the content, not you. The student is the learner. Therefore, that one ego component is removed. The second challenge is organizational challenge, because there are 8 partner institutions to start with in 1999. There were 10 institutions, 4 IIMs, 5 IITs, and Carnegie Mellon University. But in 2003, Carnegie Mellon was dropped out for government reasons, and we had only IITs. IIMs were also given a different program. So our project had only IITs to be with. So the organizational challenge is to have a uniformity in production, uniformity in teaching standards, pedagogy, uniformity in learning styles, all these things. And should we address it to the teachers? Should we address it to the students? Should we address it to everybody, etc.? So there were pedagogical discussions. And I was part of all these discussions. I never missed a TEL meeting because I was one of the overall coordinators of the project, along with Professor Anand. I must tell you, at some point of time, you cannot escape without Professor Anand's name in it, because it is he who saw the whole thing. He was the former director of IIT Madras. I think I mentioned that earlier. So we needed a coordination from various teams. It worked well. There were many. I wouldn't print any of them.
Yeah.
Therefore, I would only print some of the outcomes, not the actual discussions that happened. They have been quite acrimonious, quite acrimonious in many places.
Great, sir. Great.
Yeah.
So there is a question from the audience, and that is, what is the route for faculty members from private institutions to become collaborators? Is there an established route that they can follow? And
yeah, SWAYAM, yes, SWAYAM has a profile. You have to go into the SWAYAM platform, register yourself as a faculty member, provide the content that you want to provide after going through what is already available in your area. SWAYAM has close to several thousand courses, but in each discipline has probably 40 or 50 such courses. Please quickly go through the course contents which are offered and what is it that you want to do differently. There is a template that you have to fill up, and this is an open template. And it will be nice if your director, the institute's principal advisor or director, also informs the ministry, the UGC, and the SWAYAM team that their faculty members are interested in offering the courses and so on. So the platforms are open for anybody to contribute. SWAYAM has more than 200 partners, I believe. NPTEL has about 100 partners, but it was very difficult to bring in non-IIT in as late as 2009 when I tried to bring in my own alma mater, PhD College of Technology in Coimbatore, to be one of the contributors and Shastra University to be another contributor. There was a huge resistance in the system because of what is called the quality, quote unquote, of the teaching. I said, don't worry about it. I think the courses will stand on their own. You only have to tell them what to do. Don't tell them how to do it. And don't tell them that you are the only one capable of doing it. Don't do that. This is a country has learning traits of different kinds. So yeah, there is a standard SWAYAM platform entry that you have to make as a course provider. Please access it. Please request all the faculty members to access that and put their resume, put their the content that they want to build and the lecture style that they want to build, whether video lectures or whether they want to do text-based lectures and so on. Today, it is important to talk on the video even for 10 minutes on a given lecture and provide some 30 or 40 such modules. So please be prepared to speak on the video and don't look back and saying that, oh, I look pretty bad on the video. Well, I always did in the early years. The famous comment I have is, which my daughter says, she never said that, but I keep telling that, is that when she looked at the first video that I recorded in 2003, she said only one question, Appa, is this what you are teaching? Now I understand why your students have so much problems. So, okay. No, yes, it's fantastic.
Yes, great.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
Anybody can contribute. Anybody can contribute.
Anybody can contribute. Yeah. I am asking Mr. Raja to ask his question, and also.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Whoever can take the question first, please go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, please go ahead, sir. Yeah.
Sir, it was a wonderful presentation. It was eye-opening, and the first time I came to know about these two platforms, which will be very helpful. I'll share it across in my circle. And my first question, sir, why no publicity for these great learning hubs, even on IIT websites, which could significantly reduce the educational expense of many students, while they continue to pay exorbitant fees for an arguably subpar learning as of now?
Sir, the advertisement is there, and the social media is very active in the last 4 or 5 years. And you can blame me in the initial stages for not advertising this program because we were all very seriously involved in creating it. But then through the YouTube, there are a lot of advertisement, but you see, these are all things which are not primary interest to the media. The media looks at social events more than the media looking at even the IIT. They are much more interested in what is wrong with the IITs very often than what is right with them. So you can see that I wouldn't blame the media. That the attention span of the public is such that they are looking for details. It is there. There have been a lot of advertisement. There have been lots of meetings, and colleges have been on a monthly basis. They have been circulating the events. Today, UGC has taken up the SWAYAM platform. So if you feel that you missed it, no, you didn't miss it because it's available now. Please do it now.
Okay.
One of the courses. No, I'll just complete one more sentence on this. When I first introduced one of my speakers in physics, he was a very well-known teacher, and I requested him to record his lectures, which he was very, very unwilling to do. He said, no, don't record me. I'm natural in my class, but don't ever record me. But then I told him, you have to record your lessons because, Bala, you teach at a time when I also teach my course in my class in the same slot. So I will never know what you are teaching in your course. So at least even for me, it'll be very helpful to understand. He sort of very politely agreed after some time. And then we recorded his course. Today, they are the best physics courses in the whole world. And people from Stanford, California, Harvard, they keep asking, why did this person not record these lectures 10 years ago when I was studying? I said, well, he didn't do it, but he did now. So why don't you use it now? Okay. So nothing is missed in learning. It's only timelines. Yeah.
Sir, in the recent educational policy, or we do have restriction on the age criteria for students. For example, if they want to appear 10th, so they should.
We don't have any age limit for the students in any of these.
Not so good.
Sorry,
not for these courses. In general, I'm asking.
Yeah. No, age limits are slowly being removed
asking
by the NEP. NEP says entry-level age limit. But I think there is only a lower age limit, not the upper age limit, if I understand, for colleges. The lower age limit, NPTEL course was taken by a 12-year student, fabricating his age as 18 years in the data. And when we issued the ID card, he was caught. And he apologized saying that, sorry, my age is actually only 12, but I wanted to finish the courses. So the board wanted to disallow him, but then I stood up and said, no. You should learn, but you should learn not to start in the wrong path. You should have told us that you are 12 years old and you want to still take the course, and we would have found the way of doing it. We will allow you, but remember, don't ever tell a lie. That's all. So I think NEP is also now slowly worrying about everybody wanting to learn. There is only a lower age. I don't think there is an upper age limit for colleges, is it? I'm surprised that they have. Because IIT Madras has given degrees to 75-year-olds and PhDs to 78-year-olds and so on. We don't have any limits.
Sir, I'm talking about the lower age limit itself, sir. So if the
lower age limit, that is for the maturity level. Yeah, that is for the maturity level of the student. There is some index that the government goes through, and looking at an average plus a standard deviation of 1 or 2, including that. I believe if you have to do 11 years of schooling, and if you start at the age of 6, it cannot be earlier than, say, 15 or 16 when you want to do higher education. But even that, exceptions can be made, because we do have graduates who got MTech degree when they were 17 years old. I personally got involved in one of them. Yeah, to ensure that he was registered.
Great, Mr. Raja. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now take the other question. It's the second hand that has gone up. Yeah, over to you.
Thank you very much, sir. Myself, Dr. Anita Raman, working with ICFAI. Thank you for such a wonderful session. It was very comprehensive, and we came to know so much about the work that you have done at your end. And my hearty congratulations to Dr. Rao and Dr. Prasad for bringing you on to give us, such an interesting perspective and what all that we could explore. I have 2 questions. The first one being, sir, as you rightly mentioned that there's a depth of faculty members, or, there's a depth of resources which can be provided. Now, right? And also you mentioned about there is industry academia gap. And while there are some initiatives and steps taken for you to build up the student learning while they are, in the form of taking up some projects, resources. While for the faculty, there is a distance between what is happening in the industry and where we stand. And we always say that there is a disconnect. And I was just thinking aloud and wondering, can there be any kind of a framework that can be accommodated by the government so that, faculty can go as consultants for a few months and then give their advices, learn that, how the systems can be bettered or improved at the industry, and then come back and teach. Such kind of system, it would enable them to have a hands-on experience and bring that to the students. So why such initiatives are missing? I mean, this is a loud question that I'm asking. That something can that be done? On one hand, we say that,
Okay.
faculty are allowed and free to do the consultancy, while
Yeah.
the time constraints and the challenges that we have upfront is not allowing us
Yeah.
to go and,
Okay.
do. So would you have
No,
some
I would. Yeah.
insights on that, please?
Yeah. No. The current process, government does not tell any faculty member how to train themselves or how to do consultancy themselves. It is the university system or the affiliate private colleges which have the boundaries for the activities of their faculty colleagues. But a large number of private institutions particularly do permit to their faculty members to interact with the industry, even on a short leave, to go and work with them and to introduce their own students to do the internship and so on. So this process is not government enabled or government mandated. This process is driven by the social requirement for the institution to become more useful in the community in which it is actually serving. Now, you cannot expect in a way for government to formulate a policy and then leave it for its implementation unless the educational leaders in the individual institutions see the value in them. Therefore, my suggestion would be that anybody who is interested, today we allow a lot of industry partners, we call them as professors of practice. UGC has introduced a particular title called the professors of practice for those who are involved in the industry for more than 15 years and who have even a master's degree. They don't have to have a PhD degree to teach in a university and so on. So UGC is moving in that direction, but I think independently of these institutions, every college, every institution can decide certain basic norms and say, we would like to invite these people, we would like to interact with these industries, some of our faculty can do, and government has freedom. The NAC does not come in. In fact, the more you have it, the more credit you get in the NAC accreditation or in the NBA accreditation and so on. So my understanding is, I don't know why you say that there is a restriction. Very often the restriction is specific institutions, specific individuals, and also our timelines limit. See, if we feel constrained to work from 8 to 6, yes, the institution takes all of it. But if you are not constrained to work from 8 to 6, but you said my horizon is far and beyond, then I think the time is yours, essentially. And you can build it. In my view, that the government is not either a problem or the solution for this. It is the individual groups and the institutions which must regulate these things very well.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
I hope I answered you. I hope.
Maybe I would seek a little bit more clarification. When we say professor of practice, a practitioner, industry practitioner can come and teach in academics, while an academician is not permitted to go and work in the industry because of the challenges or the constraints or the timelines that you said. So just like we have an internship for a student, wherein you have a 6 months period where you can go and work in the industry. So my thought process was, if a faculty who is teaching on the academic side is allowed to go and work in the industry for 6 months or consult for 6 months, without we getting onto the teaching side, when you are given a 6 months off or a 3 months off, where you can go and, do something in the industry and come back and enrich the students. That was my, if that was a model
I'll
that
respond
we
to
had.
you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
If that was a model.
See the problem. Yeah.
Yes, sir,
in
please
that
go.
model, the limit is not the faculty or the institute. The limit is the industry. The industry sees when they invite a faculty member, that's a finance involved. That's a program involved. Their industry faculty, industry employees' times are involved. So optimization, the industry does much more quickly than optimization done by the faculty members of the institute. As faculty, we waste a lot of time. Quote unquote, I would say, we waste a lot of time doing things that may or may not be end result. But the moment you go to an industry to do a consultancy, it is a very specific project and it's very specific timeline. Are you willing to satisfy? So my feeling is that the limitation here is not the faculty member or the institution, it's the industry. which says, I'm okay with the students because they get trained anyway, and if they are very good, that I will eventually take them up. But I don't need these faculty members largely because they have their own responsibilities. They can't give 100% of their time, and they can't solve my problem. I think it works both ways. It is not a question of a permission from the industry. It is a question of accessibility to the industry's model by the faculty member. I think that's more important. Yeah, that's more a problem. Yeah.
So how do we look forward? How do we take it forward?
One-to-one. Talk to the industry in your local surroundings. See, all these things start from a local community. Your institution is in a surrounding where there are certain industries, and if you are willing to help them, you offer them, you give them the free advice, and you tell them that you interact with them. It starts on a small scale. You cannot start with an IBM partner or a Google partner or things like that, because those institutions have. But help your local industries. Fantastic, I tell you, your institution will be set more beautifully and supported very well by the corporate social responsibilities of the local industries and so on. So start with the local industries. That would be the best model, in my view.
Thank you so much, sir. If I'm permitted to ask one more question, it's okay.
It has to be a very good question.
Yeah, certainly from my side. If you were to look at the remuneration that the teachers get right from the primary education to the upper level, we find there are a lot of systemic challenges that are involved, which are where the teachers upfront, they work a lot, but they are paid very little. And in the whole system, especially when you look at the outside private segment, especially the nurseries and then the higher secondary. So do you think that there is an overhauling required for the entire system so that they get compensated enough for the services that they are doing? I hope it's a meaningful question. Dr.
Yes. No. It's a major question. How do we pay our faculty adequately? And what is adequate for a faculty? These are two questions. And the one important factor is the management. If it is a government, of course, there is a standard format. You are an assistant professor, you will get the UGC scale or you will get the state scale. Whether the state pays your salary on time or not is the problem of the society, not the problem of the model. Therefore, I would say that private institutions should be encouraged to pay the faculty adequately as per the rules. And some of the good private institutions pay near UGC compensation. Now, in schools, it's a different matter. In schools, you take teachers, sometimes with a B.Ed qualification, sometimes with a master's qualification. And then if you are a government school, you don't have a choice. You have to pay as per the government. But private institutions optimize funding. See, education is a business in India now. It's no longer an enterprise philanthropy as some of the older rich individuals started. Education is a serious business. Optimization happens at all levels. And faculty payments, salary payments are definitely a serious issue in private colleges, particularly during COVID times. Many of them didn't even get a salary. They just got a title that they are assistant professors or professors of the institution and so on. But that's a social problem. Remember, that's something that government can regulate, but government cannot follow it up, given the fact that we have 40,000 institutions. So if there is a serious mismatch, somebody should bring it to the attention of the local government and try to correct it. But no, it's a management. Private management, you have to deal with it. Well, if you don't like, leave the management and try to find some other organization which would remunerate you adequately for what you do. This is
I'm talking about the
chicken and egg model.
I'm talking about the schools, tier 2, tier 3, even in the cities. They get,
exactly
paid very minuscule in the schools, which, where they're doing a lot of work and service to children, where they're doing a nation building activity. Well, they're not compensated for enough. So that was my, question.
No, you have to bring it. You have to bring it to the local school boards. And the local school boards must know that these things are going out of control and they are not as per the law. Then the local school boards have the right to stop such practices. But who will call, who will bell the cat? That's the basic issue. The issue is not about the cat or the bell, but who will bell it? So that's the issue. I think it is not something society should also represent the schools very well. Society should protest to the schools, saying that, in our community, these teachers are working so hard. Why are you not paying them? We will not take our children. These are all things that go with a social requirement and a social commitment. Yeah, I do not have an answer to that.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. So for your patient response to all the questions, directly related, directly unrelated, remotely unrelated, all kinds of questions you have taken. Thank you so much, sir. One point I wanted to make here that at the school level, at the primary as well as middle school and high school level, the salaries paid by government of Telangana are much, much higher than those paid by private sector. I don't know about other governments in other states, but definitely in the state of Telangana, I know for sure that the salaries paid to the teachers is much, much higher than what's paid to the same teachers in the private sector. Anyway, that's one pointer for us to take. But I think we have had a great discussion of 90 minutes so far in this conversation of to understand the constructive intervention made by NPTEL and SWAYAM in understanding the large canvas, how it has been impacting a large, diverse country like ours. So thank you very much, sir, for giving us a lowdown on the impact created, on the efforts made, and over the last 2.5 decades now, the journey has been pretty interesting and impactful. Professor Prasad, would you have any last word to say? And then we can close after that, sir.
I think we have covered, major ground, and I'd leave it that. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It was a great opportunity. It was a great opportunity. And don't worry about, internet is making sure that the world is flat. There is no timeline. Okay. If you want me to give a lecture at 11 o'clock in the middle of the night, I must be able to do, because I can readjust my time accordingly. So don't worry about it. I think what we need is to work together. Yeah. Thank you.
Great, sir. Thank you, sir. I also would like to place on record the facilitation made by Dr. L.S. Ganesh in connecting with you. I want to also thank all my colleagues and all the participants who have come up with very interesting questions. We could not take all the questions for want of time. I will write to you, sir. Maybe you can respond at your convenience. But this session has been pretty meaningful for us. The 197th session that is made so interesting by you. We are ever grateful to you, sir, and we'll come back to you with a summary. And once you approve that, we'll put it on our archives for people to go back and learn. There'll be a video as well as a text summary. They have the benefit of going back to it and learning again and again. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll be very happy to do that. Thank you. Have a good evening. Yes, for all of you. Have a good evening.
For us, it's a good evening. And for you, we wish you a great day ahead, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll meet again next week with another leader on Friday evening. Till then, keep learning about SWAYAM and NPTEL. Go and search. There's a lot that we have actually not tapped into. There's a lot that we have actually not known. So let us begin there and then come back with more questions. And then there are experts who are available to help us and understand and unravel it much, much better. So there's a homework for us. Let us keep learning and keep meeting again on Fridays like this. Till then, have a great weekend and a good night.